Hey everybody, it's Wednesday once again on Golden State Boulevard. I just want to say right up front that the topic is suicide, so if that is or could potentially be triggering for you, I would skip this one because that is what we're going to be talking about today. Suicide is something that, as hopefully everyone knows, is very, very serious. I am not very happy about the glamorization of self-harm and of anxiety of any description and depression that's been kind of going around the internet recently, because I feel like that's really, really an unhealthy and very morbid thing to glamorize, because I feel like not only does it detract from people who really do have those feelings, but it almost encourages behavior like that to be, cool and deep and artistic. And anybody who is depressed, has ever been depressed, or has anxiety can tell you that there is nothing cool about it. It's this very crippling, powerless feeling that comes over you, and it's not cool at all. So I thought I'd mention that up front at the beginning as well. I was thinking about what I wanted to say about this topic because I have never self-harmed, and I have never seriously contemplated suicide. I have had days where my dysphoria is so bad that certainly the thought has crossed my mind, and I decided to kind of put myself back in that place and try to go through my thought process in that situation, including why I haven't done it, because I think that that's also really important. Even if you have already self-harmed, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody because I haven't done it. I don't think that at all. I just think that it might be helpful to know what stopped me from going through with either of those things in case it's helpful to somebody else. First up, I was examining what were the feelings that I had. What was I so afraid of happening if I stayed alive? And the first thing was, I was afraid that if I stayed alive, no one would ever love a freak, that I would end up alone, that I wouldn't do anything worthwhile with my life because I'm talentless, and therefore my life had no worth. So that's why, those were my feelings at my lowest points, where I felt like there was no reason why I couldn't do it, and why it would matter if I did. Then my second little checklist, I guess you could call it, was why I haven't done either of those things, why I haven't self-harmed, and why I haven't actually gone through with it. The reason why I haven't cut myself, or self-harmed in any way, or actually attempted to go through with it is because I'm afraid. I'm scared. And then I thought, well, if I really feel like that's my best option, what am I scared of? And of course, I'm scared that I'll be making the wrong choice. And then there's that voice in your head you get when you're making decisions, and it's like, but you're talentless. How could you possibly make a mistake? How could it be a mistake? You're not going to do anything that's worthwhile. Your life has no meaning. You're just a freak, and you're going to end up alone. So why would you be scared of doing it? What could be wrong with that? And then my next thought is, well, I'm scared that I'll make the wrong choice because I'm scared that maybe I'm not talentless and that my life does have meaning. And if I kill myself or hurt myself or go down that road, I'm going to be detracting from any possibility that I would have had to develop some sort of worthwhile skill or talent and to have my life mean something. I've written here, I can't do it because I feel that a part of me has the will to live. And even if 99% of me is calling for me to give up, I can't give up on that 1% of me that's telling me to go on. That's enough life spark for me to realize why I'm scared of doing it. And I think that the realization of why I haven't done it is what brings me back every time. It's like, well, why haven't you done it already? What are you scared of? I'm scared that I'll be wrong and that my life isn't meaningless. And I think that's a very, very crucial part of it. But of course, you have to get to the point where you can reevaluate these things rationally. So you haven't done it, and you've stopped yourself, and now you're feeling like really conflicted inside because you're like, well, I'm so weak, I didn't do it, and you're wrong. It's not weak not to do it. It's very strong, because you've actually brought yourself back from something that is irrevocable, and that's really, really difficult to do once the ball is in motion, so you should be very proud. Of course, once you're in that moment, you don't feel proud. You feel weak and pathetic, and you can't think rationally about it at all. Like, well, what can you do to get yourself back to a place where you can actually think rationally? And I wrote down to distract yourself. And I know that you can't just like shelve the problem. I'm not saying you should shelve the problem. I'm saying that you should set it aside until you're in a better position to think about it. And so I suggested watch a movie, preferably a horror film, because at least you know you're smarter than the characters in them. That's what I do usually, is I'll watch like a horror film, because then I'm just like, well, I might be a loser and I might be talentless, but at least I wouldn't run up the stairs. Read a book, transport yourself into someone else's life for a while, and repeat if necessary, but always avoid triggers. Just don't watch something that's going to trigger you. Watch something that's going to be helpful for you, or read something that's going to transport you into a completely different situation, a completely different person's life, something that you can use to, or work yourself into some different kind of emotion. Because ultimately I feel like when you're in a suicidal state, you don't really feel anything. Fear, maybe, but you're not angry, you're not upset, you're not happy, obviously, you're not any of those things. It's just like you're so calm because you feel like you've really come up to this decision, and that you're not going to change your mind no matter what. And you need to get yourself out of that. You need to not be calm, really, because you have to force yourself to feel something, some sort of connection to the rest of the world. And I find that watching a movie or reading a book can really help jumpstart some sort of an emotional response to things. Reach out. As cruel as people online can be, the internet is full of people that you can talk to and connect with, whose job it is to make you feel wanted and loved, and to help you find meaning in your life, to help you get on the path towards happiness. I'm going to link some of those numbers and things below, and it's one of the beautiful things about the internet is that you don't have to be isolated. It was before that, like, if there was nobody else like you, or nobody else feeling like you in your town, you did feel alone, because you felt like there was nobody else you could understand. But the internet is full of people who not only understand, but who want to help you, whose entire goal is to make you feel like you mean something, like your life means something, like they would be upset if you were gone. And I think that those are feelings that people who get to that point, they've lost sight of that. They don't think that anybody would care. They don't think that anybody could possibly love them. And I can tell you that, like, going back to my original thought that nobody would ever love a freak. When I say a freak, I mean somebody who's non-binary, like me. And that's false. It's completely false. There are so many people who are in loving relationships, and with the internet it's so easy to see that. And I think once you see that you're not a freak who's going to go forever alone and be unloved, that makes such a big difference. I can't even begin to tell you how relieved I felt that I was wrong. You know, I wanted to be wrong, I just didn't think I was. The last couple of things I said were, here's the best part about reaching out to people on the internet. You're in control. Just like you're in control of when you cut yourself, or when you actually go through with committing suicide. It's all about control. It's about taking control back from the chaos that you feel like your life has become. But if you're reaching out to somebody for help, that's a power move, because you are still in charge. You are in control. If you don't like one person, try somebody else. The options are practically limitless. Like, if one person isn't really connecting with you very well, try somebody else. Like, there's literally a whole tags on Tumblr devoted to people saying, like, if you ever feel like you're alone, if you ever want somebody to talk to me, and you've got nothing to lose by doing it. That's my next point. Why not do it? The worst that could happen is that you can feel better. And I think deep down that's what we all want. Once you've hit rock bottom, it can only get better, and all you want to do is feel like you're worth something. And that's what's going to ultimately bring you back from the edge, I think. And that's why it's important to connect with other people when you're having trouble connecting and being your own best friend. I guess the overall point of what I'm trying to say in this video is that, and my channel mate Alex said it perfectly yesterday, is it's not just about the people that you would be leaving behind. Because if you've gotten to a point where that's what you want to do, I feel like you have already written them off, and that you already have decided that they don't care. And whether or not they do is kind of beside the point. You have to do this for you. That is to say, not do it. For you, for yourself. For the future you that will eventually have the opportunity to do something, regardless of whether you do right now or not. There's this theory in philosophy that talks about the happiness base, is what it is. And no matter what horrible thing happens in your life, or what great thing happens in your life, we used the example of winning the lottery and becoming a paraplegic. And we discussed how, in philosophy, the way that this works, both of these people will return to this base level of happiness. It's the adaptation principle. You don't think that you can get used to something, good or bad, but as time goes on, you naturally just do. And that's how we survive, that's how we go on. So, no matter how bad things seem like they are, you will adapt to it, you will grow, you will overcome this. It's a matter of philosophical certainty. I don't know whether or not that makes any sense or you believe in that, but you'll only know if you stick around to find out. I am very glad that I stuck around to find out, because now I have a loving boyfriend who cares very deeply about me, and I know that it would hurt him terribly if I hurt myself in any way. I'm going to a really good university, studying what I really like, and that's something that I couldn't have done if I hadn't made it through my formidable teenage years. And I'm living in Germany right now, which is a dream come true for me. I wanted to come back and live here ever since I was here the first time. These are things that I couldn't foresee. I could not know that these things were going to happen to me back when I was 13, 14, and in a really, really bad place. But because I was able to stick around, I now have all these wonderful things. You never know, as Pocahontas said, what's just around the river bend. You don't know what's right around the corner. You don't know. And because you can't know what opportunities are going to come your way, you are doing your future self a huge disservice by doing something like that. You are, in essence, cutting yourself off from any possibility of pain and happiness and love. And it's important to weigh those very, very carefully, because I hate to be cliche like all those other videos, but it does get better. And I really wish that I would have been more open with other people when I was feeling that way, so that they would have told me that. And I couldn't have known then what I know now, is all the good that came of me staying, but neither will you unless you're here to see it. There will always be people who will be willing to support you and to help you get what you need to get back on your feet. Just reach out to them. And as I said, I'm leaving a lot of that information down below. I'm always available to talk to at any time. Just message me on any of those links and use any of those numbers. Those are all suicide hotlines and things like that. So please, 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 just hold off on it. Just don't do it. It is an irrevocable choice. And you might think it's the right one right now, But because you don't know what's in store for you later, I implore you to wait, hold off, go find meaning in your life, find people who will be there to support you. If there's nobody locally, go online. That's what it's for, in my opinion. That's one of the best things that it's for. Tumblr, I mean, there's so many things to go around about how we're all just a bunch of freaks who love cats anyway. I mean, if you really feel like you're a freak, no matter what your interests are, I guarantee you if there's one, there's many more. And that can be a wonderful thing. So please, look for that. Look for the beauty that does indeed exist. Because happiness can be found even at the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday.